It's 8:23 a.m. in the mountains on this second day of August 2024. This is episode, it's going to be 932 of Bitcoin, and we got some major news out of Morgan Stanley dropping today. We got some Cointelegraph stuff we're going to do. What else we got? We got retail investors can now invest in Bitcoin startups. We'll talk about that one. Kathy Wood seems to have sold some things, Coinbase. So we'll do all of it, I promise. All right, so in back of me, I'm in a garage, a two-story garage in the house, in Colorado, as I've said before. Me and my sister, who is also up here with the family, decided that we were going to clean out the garage. Holy crap. We've got a roll-off dumpster, and we filled it to the rim yesterday. We're talking about somewhere between 15 and 20 yards of crap that is collected in this garage, and we are still not done. We threw the majority of it out yesterday. Still got some work today, but not before I bring you the news. And here it is. Morgan Stanley has told its army of wealth advisors that they can now pitch Bitcoin ETFs in a first for a major Wall Street firm. Hugh Sun is writing this one for CNBC, of all things. I can't believe none of the other Bitcoin magazine stuff like that hasn't picked this up. Of course, it is breaking, so this just happened this morning. Morgan Stanley, on Friday, has told its army of financial advisors that it will soon allow them to offer Bitcoin ETFs to some clients. A first among major Wall Street banks, CNBC has learned. The firm's 15,000 or so financial advisors can now solicit eligible clients to purchase shares of 2 exchange-traded Bitcoin funds starting Wednesday, according to people with knowledge of the policy. Those funds are BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust and Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund. The move from Morgan Stanley, one of the world's largest wealth management firms, is the latest sign of the adoption of Bitcoin by mainstream finance. In January, the SEC approved applications for 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs, heralding the arrival of an investment vehicle for Bitcoin that's easier to access, cheaper to own, and more readily traded. Bitcoin has weathered market sell-offs, the spectacular collapse of crypto exchange FTX, and criticism from the most established figures in finance, including JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon and Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett. So it's not surprising that Wall Street's major wealth businesses didn't immediately embrace the new ETFs, forbidding their financial advisors from pitching them and only allowing trades if clients actively sought out the product. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo still follow that policy, according to spokespeople at all 4 banks. Morgan Stanley made the move in response to demand from clients in an attempt to follow an evolving marketplace for digital assets, said the people who declined to be identified, speaking about the bank's internal policies. The bank is still striking a note of caution, however, in the rollout. Only clients with a net worth of at least $1.5 million and an aggressive risk tolerance and the desire to make speculative investments are suitable for Bitcoin ETF solicitation, said the people. The investments are for taxable brokerage accounts, not retirement accounts, they added. I find that kind of interesting. The bank will monitor clients' crypto holdings to make sure they don't end up with excessive exposure to the volatile asset class, according to the sources. The only crypto investments approved for purchase at Morgan Stanley are that pair of Bitcoin ETFs and private funds from Galaxy and FS NYDIG that the bank made available starting in 2021. Morgan Stanley is watching how the market for newly approved Ether, ETFs develop and hasn't committed to whether it would provide access to those, the people said. So, dude, wow, holy shit, Dow tumbles 700 points. Holy crap. Oh, and NASDAQ has entered correction. Sorry, guys, but it's breaking news. And it's, since I'm on the CNBC website, of course, it's going to catch my attention when it comes up in a great big red banner. So a 700-point tumble after the weak jobs report, apparently. Wow, that's just a shame, especially after we read some really bullish news out of Morgan Stanley for Bitcoin. Bitcoin not tumbling 700 points, but you never know. I mean, this shit... It's been really weird week for Bitcoin because first you got Trump, he gives it a boost, says it's going to be a strategic reserve, and then 3 days later, the United States government moves a whole bunch of Bitcoin out of its wallet for the first time in a long time. It looked like it went over to exchanges, but it looked like it was being sold. I can't confirm that. And I made that mistake too, by the way. So let's have a little lesson in how not to be stupid on Nostr like I was. I was looking at a great big, red candle, didn't like it. And then somebody said somewhere that Arkham Intelligence had shown movement of Bitcoin. I confirmed that. I was able to go to the U.S. government wallet on Arkham Intelligence. And yes, indeed, they did exactly that. But I started assuming that they were selling, and that does not appear to be the case. So in the future, I'm going to try to remind myself before I say a statement like the United States government started selling Bitcoin, I was really remiss and I didn't do my job. And for that, I apologize. So I actually have to go find out if they were selling, and I can't find it doesn't look like they actually sold, but still 3 days. I mean, this Bitcoin could have been moved at any time, and they waited like 2 or 3 days after the Trump speech at the Bitcoin conference where he announced that the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the Treasury, and they moved it. How is this not market manipulation? And from what I understand, market manipulation by large powers is illegal. If Morgan Stanley was caught shorting something, but putting news out into the world, showing signals to the world that, to move the world in a direction that they wanted them to move on a particular asset or asset class, they generally get fined heavy. Is the U.S. government just able to do anything it wants to do? Because that market manipulation is illegal, and clearly that was a market manipulation. And I wonder if it's not even more coordinated than that, because as the Bitcoin price dropped from damn near $70,000 to where are we at, 65, something like that? I think we're at like just over 65. And we dipped all the way down to 62,200. And now we've come back up a little bit. Kind of makes me wonder with this Morgan Stanley announcement this morning, if this whole thing wasn't coordinated so people could get their hands on some cheap ass Bitcoin. That's the way my mind works. I'm a little conspiratorial. You guys know that, but we've got some other news. This time it's out of Bitcoin Magazine, written by Vivek Sen. Retail investors can now invest in Bitcoin startups with Thunder Funder. It's a horrible name. Lightning Ventures, a VC firm in the Bitcoin space, launched Thunder Funder, a regulation crowdfunding portal, at the Bitcoin 2024 conference last week. The platform aims to democratize early-stage investing in Bitcoin and open-source startups by allowing both accredited and non-accredited investors to participate. Thunder Funder leverages the Reg CF framework, which permits companies to raise up to $5 million annually from the public. For the first time, this opens up largely inaccessible startup investment opportunities to retail investors interested in the booming Bitcoin and open source sectors. Lightning Ventures has invested over $6.8 million in nearly 40 Bitcoin companies. With this new platform, we're activating a new group of retail investors, says Mike Jarmusch, CEO of Thunder Funder. The founding team comprises CTO Uncle Rockstar, an early contributor to BTC Pay Server, and COO Vivek Patel, who previously worked at Prime Trust. Max Kaiser and Swan Bitcoin CEO Corey Clipston's El Zonte Capital invested in the Lightning Ventures $500,000 pre-seed round to launch the platform alongside Brad Mills and Chris Hunter. With Thunder Funder, regular investors can now directly fund innovative Bitcoin projects that were previously only accessible to accredited and institutional investors. This could accelerate development and progress in the Bitcoin and open source ecosystem. Yes, and it can also facilitate some scams. All right. I'm not saying I don't like it. This is good. But any system that can be gamed will be gamed. And I've never seen a system that cannot be gamed. So just watch out. And I mean, and I'm not talking about Corey Clipston or Uncle Rockstar. I mean, Uncle Rockstar, I've never met him personally, but I have talked to him on several occasions, and I've been, following him, and he's been following me for years. So I think he's a good Joe. I've never seen him do anything out of hand or out of sorts or anything like that. And certainly nothing, underhanded. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the people that go up to Thunder Funder and say, here's our business, we want the people that go to your platform to invest in our company, those are the people that I just automatically start. It's not that I don't automatically mistrust them. It's just be careful out there. And I'm not a fan of accredited investors. Like that whole Morgan Stanley thing, you can't be a part of any Bitcoin investment with your Morgan Stanley guy unless you have $1.5 million and has demonstrated to that financial advisor in the past that you're okay with risk. You can't. And I mean, there's not a lot of people walking around with $1.5 million. There's just not. There's a lot more than there were, but there's still just not a whole lot of them. So that accredited investor situation, it used to be there just for protection, so that people that didn't know what the hell that they were doing didn't get into massive amounts of trouble. But that's been bastardized to make sure that, the rich get richer, poor get poorer. But the caveat here, just watch your ass with whatever project that comes up on Thunder Funder. It better have some well-known people with some street cred. Okay. Otherwise, do not put your money into some kind of Bitcoin startup and you've never heard the people's names. They should have some street cred. Okay. That's all. That's what I will be looking for if I choose to use this situation. Hot off the back of the Morgan Stanley news, a Hong Kong broker offers new customer deposit bonuses in Bitcoin. Amaka Nawachaka, and I'm sure I butchered that, sorry, but from Cointelegraph writing. Hong Kong's largest online brokerage, Futu Securities International, is offering new customer deposit bonuses in Bitcoin as part of a promotional offer for individuals to open accounts. According to information on the company's website from August the 1st to August the 31st, 2024, new customers who meet specific criteria can benefit from various rewards, including substantial Bitcoin bonuses. This initiative is designed to attract new investors and provide them with various incentives to start their trading journey. The promotional offer is open to individuals that are 18 years or older who have never held a Futu HK brokerage account and have not deposited funds with Futu HK before August the 1st, 2024. Additionally, participants must hold a Hong Kong resident identity card or an overseas passport. The rewards for new deposits are tiered, offering various options for participants. The first tier reward requires a minimum deposit of 10,000 Hong Kong dollars by August the 31st, 2024, and an average daily asset balance of $10,000 or Hong Kong dollars for 60 days. Let's see here. Participants can choose from up to 3 different rewards: a share of Alibaba, a 400 Hong Kong dollar supermarket voucher, a 600 Hong Kong dollar in Bitcoin. The rewards will be issued or credited to the account within 10 trading days, 60 days after the event ends. However, the second tier requires a minimum deposit of 80,000 Hong Kong dollars, a daily asset average balance of 80,000 Hong Kong dollars for 60 days. Participants can choose between a share of NVIDIA and 1,000 Hong Kong dollars in Bitcoin, which is about 128 bucks US. Futu Securities launched digital currency trading services regulated by Hong Kong Security Regulatory Commission on August the 1st. This service includes spot trading pairs like Bitcoin and allows customers to directly purchase digital currencies using Hong Kong dollars and US dollars at real-time exchange rates. In July, Hong Kong introduced its novel stablecoin regulatory framework, garnering broad approval from stakeholders following a 2-month public consultation process that concluded in February. So that's kind of big news too. Hong Kong was going to be Bitcoin had kind of been persona non grata for a while, and now they've been changing their tunes where it's going to be okay, and now it looks like major brokerage services over in Hong Kong are going to start, probably doing what Morgan Stanley's going to do, and yet, I'm probably going to get over into the Bitcoin price, and it's going to be a red candle. I honestly don't know how this works. I don't know how much more bullish news can actually hit the wires, and I'm not sure who the hell's selling. It's beyond my imagining. Again, that's why I'm screaming market manipulation by the United States government and probably in cahoots with the UK. Now, ARK Invest has sold $14.8 million of Coinbase shares on Thursday ahead of the exchange's earning report. Cathie Wood's investment company, ARK, sold $14.8 million worth of crypto exchange Coinbase shares on Thursday, the biggest single-day divestment since May the 7th, ahead of the exchange's second quarter earnings announcement. The divestment means that the company sold more Coinbase shares on the first day of August than in the previous 2 months combined. It sold $2.88 million worth of the shares in June and $7.9 million in July. After the market closed, Coinbase reported second quarter revenue that beat Wall Street analyst expectations. Profit, however, came in lower than the consensus. The exchange's shares, which fell 5.2% to 212 bucks during regular trading, rallied briefly after the report and were little changed in pre-market trading. ARK sold a total of 69,069 coin shares across its next generation Internet ETF and FinTech Innovation ETF. The company's share sales are often made out of necessity to keep within its own exposure guidelines that avoids one holding accounting for more than 10% of an ETF's total weighting. Coin accounts for 6.74% of the next generation Internet ETF and 9.69% of the FinTech Innovation ETF. So it looks like this was a technical sale and not a get out of town, we're all going to die kind of sale. And again, I've made this mistake before where I'm like going, they hate Coinbase just like I hate Coinbase. Cathie Woods doesn't give a shit. I guarantee it. She does not care. She just wants the money, or she wants to have a targeted balance. And it looks like that's what this entire thing was all about. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the markets. Let's get back to where I was. Oil is taking a fucking beating today. It's just savage out there. $73.49 a barrel. That is down 3.7%. Brent also 3.27% to the downside, coming in at $76.92. Natural gas is, as usual, doing the reverse. It's up 1.68% to just over $2 per thousand cubic feet. Gasoline dropping 3.34% to $2.31 a gallon. And I honestly don't know why, because last I heard we're sending a battle group over to the Mediterranean Sea because Israel attacked a whole bunch of countries or something like that. What I'm about to say, I did not check all that much. That Israel attacked 4 countries within 2 days. That part, I don't know if that's true. I know there was like they nailed some Hamas guy or something like that, or Hezbollah leader, but it was so bad that the United States is sending some kind of battle group over to the Med, and that's not a good sign, ladies and gentlemen. But the metals are actually having a good day, as you might expect. Gold is up 0.6% to $24.95.40. Silver is up a half a point. Platinum sideways. Copper is up 0.78%, while palladium is down just over 1 point. Ag is mostly in the green this morning. Biggest winner today is soybeans, 0.98% to the upside. Biggest loser is sugar, 2.16 to the downside. Livestock is getting freaking hammered too, guys. And I'm not just finding that shit out now. I heard yesterday that live cattle prices were just getting slaughtered, and they're not lying. Live cattle is down 1.73%, lean hogs down 1.2%, and feeder cattle down damn near 3%. My heart goes out to all the ranchers out there. The Dow, like I've been saying, is down 1.83% to 39,773. So it's dipped under 40,000 for the first time in a long time after losing 741 points. Holy smokes. S&P is down 2.38%. It's even worse. NASDAQ also down 2.88%. And the S&P, there's blood in the streets, ladies and gentlemen. It's down 3.5 full points. Oh my God. And you know what else is down? Donations. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with these people. I'm either losing listeners or we're in the summer doldrums, because my last show only got 6,000 sats. But thank God for people like Vake, who boosted 1,500 sats and says, I have a strategic ice cream reserve in my freezer. And Pies, thank you for the 420. He says, thank you, sir. And I say, no, thank you. God's Death with 237 says, thank you, sir. That gap had me tripping. I was yelling at my phone. Yeah, I had a bad gap. And with my setup, I've got this Rodecaster Pro 2, and it's great. I love it. Right. But I've also got a laptop, but the laptop I actually bought up here in Southwest Colorado after I was trying to get one to get it set up with a couple of editing tools that I normally use so that crap like that won't happen. Everybody was sold out of the one computer that I really, really wanted. I went to 2 different Walmarts. No, they're just gone. There was I guess it's the most popular computer ever. Luckily, I found one up here, but unluckily it does not have my raft of editing tools. So gaps happen. Okay. This is 100% live. All mistakes are out there in the wind to twist. Now, from Decrypt, and I guess this is where I should say, welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. Decrypt. Microstrategy reports a second quarter loss, boosts Bitcoin holdings by $11 million. Jason Nelson for Decrypt. American software firm Microstrategy released its second quarter earnings report on Thursday, noting a net loss of $102.6 million. Jesus. The company, co-founded by Bitcoin maximalist Michael Saylor, reported total revenues of $111.4 million, as well as a loss of $200 million in the second quarter of 2024, compared to a loss of $26.7 million at the same time last year. The company also noted its subscription services business saw revenues of $24.1 million, a 21% year-over-year increase. Now, in terms of its digital asset investments, MicroStrategy said that it has acquired an additional 169 BTC in July for $11.4 million, bringing its total Bitcoin holdings to 226,500 BTC, worth around $14.7 billion. That's billion with a B. According to MicroStrategy, each Bitcoin was purchased at an average price of $36,821 since the beginning of the second quarter 2024. MicroStrategy said it had acquired 12,222 Bitcoin for $805.2 million. Quote, "We remain laser focused on our Bitcoin development strategy and intend to continue the achieved," wait, hold on. See, it's live, baby, it's live. "We remain laser focused on our Bitcoin development strategy and intend to continue to achieve positive BTC yield, which is a new KPI that we are introducing, targeting 4 to 8% annually over the next 3 years," MicroStrategy President and CEO Phong Le said in a statement. MicroStrategy also cited the recent Bitcoin 2024 conference as a positive sign. Quote, "We're extremely optimistic with the improved understanding of Bitcoin and the increasing support for the ecosystem from bipartisan politicians and institutions on display at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville," Lee said. According to the MicroStrategy report, in the second quarter, MicroStrategy raised $800 million by issuing 2.25% convertible notes due 2032 and redeemed $650 million worth of notes that are due 2025. That's the end of the article, I think. No, it's not. Hold on. Quote, "Through our use of intelligent leverage, we have again achieved a BTC yield of 12.2% year to date, which we believe demonstrates significant Bitcoin accretion to shareholders," MicroStrategy Chief Financial Officer Andrew Kang said. Already, the largest institutional holder of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy bought another 11,931 BTC worth around $786 million at the time in June, after issuing $700 million in unsecured senior convertible notes to buy more Bitcoin earlier that month. MicroStrategy's stock price closed Thursday at $1,511, but is trading after hours at $1,570 as of writing, which is up 3.85% according to Yahoo Finance. MicroStrategy did not respond to a request for comment. Yeah, they don't have to. Everybody knows what they're doing. What I found the most fascinating in this bit here is this achieving positive BTC yield, which is a new KPI that we are introducing, targeting 4 to 8% annually over each of the next 3 years. That's interesting. That I'm going to have to look much deeper into that one, because I don't know. I'm just saying that could go from a marketing standpoint. That could be like promising people the moon. But I think that this is more internal. I don't think that I don't think that they're going to come out and say, "Hey, invest in MicroStrategy because our BTC policy produces a 4 to 8% yield. So here's what you can expect." If I start hearing language like that, I'm going to get really freaking nervous about Michael Saylor and what they're doing over at MicroStrategy. So watch these guys like a hawk. Just don't believe everything that they, say. I like Mike. I do. But that, I don't know. I just don't want them to say, "Hey, we've got a new product. Here's the yield," right? So, because the question we should always ask ourselves, if anybody says yield, is where does the yield come from? That's the first question, and quite possibly the only question. But I'm going to do something a little bit different here. No Bullshit Bitcoin has been a place that I go to get short snippets of news about, software updates or anything like that. And they've kind of changed things up. And I just want to make a statement to the guys at No Bullshit Bitcoin. I love you, first of all. You've always been there. It's one of the brightest spots of my day, heading over to nobsbitcoin.com. But I like the way that y'all did it better previously than what you guys are doing with the morning reports. And I don't know. I just liked seeing all the little separate stories and now it's just kind of like all in one single report. And honestly, I know I should mind my own business, but if anybody from No BS Bitcoin is listening, that's just my 2 cents. Now, here's the way that they've been doing it lately. They have a daily Good Morning Bitcoin. And so I'm just going to read you what they've got in here, and then you can also be the judge as to whether you liked it the old way or this way. Good morning, Bitcoin. Friday, August the 2nd, 2024. Good morning, Bitcoin is your daily news roundup, delivering key stories and project updates, new releases, guides, research, etc., etc. It's been almost a month of Good Morning Bitcoin daily reports, and we hope you've enjoyed them as much as we have. We're still fine-tuning the format and structure, but it feels like this has legs and is heading somewhere. A massive shout out to XSilentG for sending us 160,000 Satoshis earlier this week, and to everyone else, because every sat counts and your support fuels our mission. So what's new? Virtual assets increasingly used by terrorist groups, claims the FATF, or the FATF. Fat fucks. The latest report from the Financial Action Task Force claims to shed light on virtual assets and virtual asset service providers, asserting that virtual assets are increasingly being used by terrorist groups. Yet, this bombshell comes devoid of proper citations or verifiable data, leaving those who are following the surveillance narratives to question its very credibility, reports The Rage. Quote, "It is unbelievable that an organization with such low standards is being taken seriously at all, never mind allowed to guide the implementation of AML CFT around the world," said investigative journalist Lola Leitz. Wow, I'm tired of the FATF too. And somehow or another, we keep giving these people credibility. I don't know why. We give the World Bank credibility. We give that fat fuck from the BIS credibility. We give the World Bank, the UN. I mean, none of these people care about any of us. And I don't know why people still think that they do. I still get in fights regularly with people who actually believe that the FATF is there to protect us, that the BIS is there to protect us by protecting massive central banks. It's not. It is a method of control. And the walls are closing in, ladies and gentlemen. But maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll get out of it. Continuing with the morning report out of nobsbitcoin.com, Microstrategy now holds 226,500 BTC. I already read you that report from a different location, so I'm going to skip. Green Ridge Generation to hodl self-mined Bitcoin. New York headquartered power generator and Bitcoin miner said that it will retain self-mined Bitcoin in order to increase its Bitcoin holdings. The company has also entered into a $20 million common stock purchase agreement. Okay. Brink welcomes Marco DeLeon, or DeLeon, however you pronounce it, Bitcoin development nonprofit Brink, announced that developer Marco DeLeon has joined Brink to contribute to Bitcoin Core's fuzz testing initiatives under the mentorship of Nicholas Gog. Together, they will build out Bitcoin Core's fuzz testing infrastructure. And for you guys that don't know what fuzz testing is, it's sort of a way to automate sending a computer program nonsense, nonstop. Like bad characters, like if you're supposed to enter in numbers and somebody's fuzz testing would be to enter in letters, how do you handle, what kind of errors are going to be thrown? How are you handling your errors or generally error handling? That's what fuzz testing is. And apparently it's an art. The more that I've read about it, the more I've discovered that it's not just about, entering in unexpected data to a software program or system or network. All right, moving on. Bitcoin miner CleanSpark has acquired two 75 megawatt mining sites in Cheyenne, Wyoming, formerly operated by Mine One, for $18.75 million. This acquisition comes after the Biden administration halted Mine One's operations due to national security concerns regarding Chinese ownership near a U.S. Air Force base, reporting from the Miner Mag. Over in Europe, the EU, global leader in regulations, has clarified the markets and crypto asset rules. The European Securities and Markets Authority issued a report advising firms on how to engage with overseas companies to ensure MiCA compliance. I would just give them the finger. The guidance states that unauthorized firms cannot provide services to EU clients unless those clients reach out first. Okay, so everybody lost their mind over MiCA, and it's bad. It's just bad regulation altogether. We won't get into that. But what have I always said about being a United States citizen? Nobody wants to do business with you. You are a liability. I'm a U.S. citizen. I am a liability for anybody that is not another United States citizen and does not live in the country, inside the confines of the United States. That's because of regulatory bullshit, right? This MiCA thing is actually less onerous than what we have going on here in the United States as far as other, overseas companies or overseas service providers being able to provide goods and services to EU citizens. Because at least an EU citizen has the choice to reach out to a foreign company or a foreign national and start doing business, and it's going to be okay. Whereas in the United States, we can't even do that. If you're doing business and somehow or another the U.S. government doesn't like that or wants a massive piece of it, and if you don't give it to them, they're going to float a bunch of fucking warships over to your front door, and it's going to be a mess. So the EU right now, it actually seems a little bit less onerous of a situation as far as digital assets than the United States. But, whatever. It's just the whole thing is ridiculous. That is the end of their report. No, you know what? It's actually not. That they go into a whole bunch of updates, but we're not going to get into that. I want to keep these shows short. So I will see you on what? The other side.